Good afternoon everyone, Ian from DIY Home and Gardening. 6th of January, it's only 4:15, but getting dark already. Just trying to get ahead of myself a little bit and be inspired, and that involves doing a little bit of seed sowing. So amongst other things, I'm going to be sowing this, Orach. So if I turn the camera around, we can have a look together. So I've got to be honest, this is a new one on me. Going through the Chiltern Seed catalogue the other week, just looking for a few things the same and a few things different. And I got quite excited and inspired to try this. I've looked it up to see what it did. And this Orach, this particular variety, Scarlet Emperor, it really piqued my interest. For the reason being that it's classed as being perennial or tender perennial, so depending how hard the winter is, depends whether it'll die or not. And then this variety is, as the name would suggest, scarlet in coloration, so the leaves have a scarlet tinge to them, turning more scarlet as the season progresses. And according to the catalogue, it will reach about between 4 and 6 foot in height. So that could be pretty impressive over at the allotment block. Just see these blocks of red. And the other reason that it appeals to me is that actually I'm kind of getting fed up with having to grow vegetable plants every year, starting from scratch, from seed, wait for it, and blah blah blah. And I just really like the idea of having another perennial vegetable within the garden, or certainly within the allotment place, something like this where you can just go pick a few handfuls of leaves as and when you need them, bring them back, cook them, eat them, and knowing that actually there'll be more for the subsequent weeks and months to come. And so this really took me took my fancy. We got here sowing indoors or under glass, which we are, January to December. So basically you can sow it under glass or protection all year round. Outdoors you'd normally sow it between April and September. So obviously that implies that it needs a warmer climate normally for germination. So by my thoughts is that I'm sowing now in January. Essentially means that actually the plants will need to be planted out in about the April-May period, when they would ordinarily be growing in, as a direct seed sowing, and so then they should be able to cope with the temperatures. But what it does mean is that by sowing now in January is that you get a 4-month head start on anyone sowing it outdoors. So as long as you've got the space, that's a win-win. Now, it gives it here height 2 meters, spread 25 centimeters, so potentially not very wide as a plant. And so, how many do you need to grow? I mean, they don't take up a lot of space, but if you're thinking a 2 meter high plant full of edible leaves, you're not going to need that many. So my thoughts are that I'm probably only going to grow about 5 plants of it. So it gives you sort of the basic instructions for baby leaf. So you can grow it as a baby leaf. Obviously sow every 2 to 3 weeks. Mature plants, so 30 centimeter spacing. So I'm planning to grow this and keep it as a mature plant, or let it grow as a mature plant. So that's the basics on it. I think I might have said it has a taste. It's meant to have a taste and use very much like spinach, and as it also suggested, you can then use it also as baby leaves as well. So good all-rounder, and hopefully going to provide a nice bit of colour impact across the allotment. So I guess the thing is, my go-tos, first get my label ready, Always do that so I don't get mixed up when I come to do seed sowing and accidentally sowing the wrong thing. Then you need to get your compost all sorted. So for that, I'm using multi-purpose compost. This, like a lot of peat-free ones now, has sort of a element of bark added to it, or blown wood fibres. Fill the trays. I tend to use another seed tray to sort of compress down the cells with, give it a good old drink, leave it to stand for at least half an hour, so then you're getting rid of the excess moisture from the soil, so you're not going to cause any waterlogging. And also, by bringing it into the greenhouse, it means that the moisture within the compost is going to get up to room temperature, so you're not going to have shock on the seeds. So that's that. I have already started doing a little bit of other seed sowing, so I just need to pop my label in for some onions. So I have already done a couple of types of kale and some onions, which leaves me very neatly with 5 cells. So let's set the camera up and we can have a look at the seeds together. Right, so let's have a look. It looks, oh, it's quite a big seed actually, which is always a bonus. So there's plenty of people do use a seed sower, if you like. I don't tend to. I tend to use my hand still. Let's get this so you can see the seed. So it's quite a big seed, very much like normal spinach, to be fair, and chard. And again, what I tend to do is I like using these cell trays. The reason being is that, let me turn that, you can then use the cells to calculate how many plants you need. Quite straightforward really. There's still loads of people use seed trays, and I do use them from time to time, but I tend to find that I'd rather use the cell trays. So my theory is, if I'm sowing into one of these seed trays, all right, they take up less space, but you can only, well, easily sow maybe 1 or 2 varieties in that, and then you got to wait for the plants to germinate, or seeds to germinate, and you then prick them out into cell trays or individual pots. So my theory is that you can kind of bypass that stage and go straight into the cells, and each cell then will represent your one plant, if you like. The other thing I like to do, which I've been doing for the last couple of years, just because I think the price of seeds is so, well, relatively cheap, I do multi-sowings. So I tend to put, if they go in, 2 or 3 seeds, so in this case 3 seeds per cell. So we do those, still space the seed out, and what that enables you to do, oh, get in there. Yeah, what that enables you to do is to then have your correct amount of cells sown. Let's put the labels in there. Correct amount of cells sown, and you're knowing that actually out of that lot, at least one of those seeds is going to germinate. Now that means that you're guaranteed to have 5 cells with 5 viable plants in there. The advantage there being that you know, if you plant just 1 seed per cell and you get only 4 of those seeds or actually germinate, then it then means you got to then sow some extra seed to get your right numbers. Whereas me doing it as a multi-sowing, it means that actually you got a pretty bloody good chance of at least 1 of those seeds germinating. Yeah, hopefully all 3 germinate. And then what that means is that you can then come through and you can pull out or cut off the weaker couple of seedlings that you don't want, and hey presto, you've got your 5 plants that you do want. without any, you know, panicking as to crop, you know, seed failures or things like that. Just takes a lot of the risk out. And as I say, because of the price of seed, it doesn't really make too much odds, I don't think. So seed is down there, and then what I like to use, if you've seen some of my other videos, you'll be aware, vermiculite. So this just acts as a blanket covering, so it gets the light levels off the seed, so it cuts out your light to the seeds. I might as well do all the others at the same time, which, you know, most seeds want an element of shading, if you like, from the light. It acts as a bit of a buffer for the temperatures, and also as it breaks down, it then releases macronutrients. It also provides somewhere for the roots to bind into. Bottle of water. Now, all I tend to do is just give it a good old spray, and you'll see that the vermiculite changes from this pale creamy white colour to this yellow colour, or golden yellow colour. And by spraying it with a good splash of water means that you're locking in moisture around that seed, but also, more importantly, because it's moistened, it's not going to then draw out the moisture from the compost and well, give you erratic germination or stagnate the germination. So just give it a good old spray there. Job done. And then we'll pop it into the propagator. There we are. So that's the tray with the Orach in it, and just sitting inside the propagator. Just drop your lid down, make sure the vents are shut, and all being well, within a week or two, those seeds will be germinated and starting to sprout. Then it's just a case of maintain the plants in their individual cells until we're ready for planting out come April. Okay, so that's it, end of video. Orach seeds sown. Don't really know what else to add to that, other than if you got any questions on how I do my seed sowing, why I do the things that I do, or, you know, indeed, yeah, if you got other ideas as to how you've grown Orach and been successful with it, then please send those messages or questions to me. This is definitely going to be a bit of a learning curve for me, but I'm hoping that it was as easy to grow as normal spinach, just, you know, more perennial like. So yeah, if you like what I'm doing, obviously please subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit the reminder button so you don't miss out on future videos I'm doing, and above all else, enjoy what you're doing, have fun, make the most of your time, and like me, try something different. So till next time, bye for now.